1803 AD, 5697 AM. Napoleon of France sold the French territories of North America, west of the United States, to the newborn nation. Known as the Louisiana Purchase, the increase in territory doubled the geographical boundaries of the United States. This move fulfilled an eschatological type found in the biblical records. The firstborn of Jacob was Reuben, who was unstable as water, though strong. The birthright nation should have been France, from the Franks, the people of Charlemagne, the first people to establish a European empire after the fall of Rome. But Reuben lost the birthright, and in the book of Jasher and Genesis we learn that the birthright passed to the last-born, in fact the sons of Joseph, son of Jacob in Egypt. Manasseh and Ephraim were adopted by Jacob, and Ephraim was prophesied as the greater. Indeed, Ephraim, United States, was doubly fruitful. Soon all of the nations of Europe would have whole communities migrating to the United States to fill up these lands. A land rich in resources, the acquisition of the Louisiana Purchase was nothing short of the fulfillment of ancient prophecy. 1804 AD, 5698 AM. Napoleon Bonaparte made himself Emperor of all Europe, subduing most of Italy and Spain, defeating Austria and Prussia, and domineering over all of Europe west of Russia. The asteroid Juno was discovered. One introduction to comets. 1805 AD, 5699 AM. The British Army defeated Napoleon's forces in the Battle of Trafalgar, halting French expansionism. The Pasha of Tripoli released the American prisoners, the United States winning the Tripolitan War. But the conflict would not truly end until 1815. Comet Biela was seen by astronomer Pons. One introduction to comets. 1806 AD, 5700 AM. Napoleon refused to acknowledge a German Holy Roman Empire. He divided Germany into states under the Confederation of the Rhine under French jurisdiction. 1807 AD, 5701 AM. The asteroid Vesta was discovered. A comet was studied by astronomer William Herschel, who wrote that the stars dimmed by the tail of comets. One introduction to comets. 1808 AD, 5702 AM. The United States outlaws the importation of slaves. This virtually ended the African slave trade. On May 16th, a procession of meteorites passed overhead for 2 hours, some falling to the ground, where it was discovered that they were composed of some alien gelatinous substance. This was 666 plus 666, 1332 years after the fall of Rome in 476 AD. 1. A Patriot's History of the United States. 2. Book of the Damned. 1811 AD, 5705 AM. The New Madrid earthquakes rocked the United States in a series of the most widespread and powerful earthquakes on record. The epicenter was located at New Madrid on the Mississippi River in Missouri. Quake shocks were felt as far as New York and Florida, with church bells ringing of themselves in Virginia. The quakes occurred in late 1811 after the appearance of the Great Comet. At one point, the Mississippi River was observed to flow backwards, and in Kentucky, the renowned naturalist John James Audubon and others heard a roar in the sky thinking it was a tornado. They observed a darkening of the sky and then a brightening, the darkness strange and unusual. Interestingly, the ancient Egyptian number for cataclysm was 2448, as seen in CHRONICON 1, which was the year of the exodus and disasters of the plagues on the Annus Mundi calendar, being 1447 BC. Counting from the first English settlement of permanence in North America, Jamestown, in 1607, past 204 years to 1811 New Madrid quakes, or 2448 months. In this same year, the charter for the Bank of the United States ran out, a charter owned by the Rothschilds. Nathan Rothschild threatens that America will be embroiled in a terrible war, even be subjected back under colonial status if the charter was not renewed. Even by this date, the House of Rothschild, begun from the Jew Mayer Amschel, already exercised power throughout Europe. 1. Introduction to Comets. 2. Synagogue of Satan. 1812 AD, 5706 AM. The War of 1812 begins between British Canada and the United States from June 18 to December 24, 1814. The people of the United States called it the Second War for American Independence. The British burned the city of Washington, D.C. and the White House. 5 weeks after the New Madrid quakes in 1811, in January 1812, another earthquake shook the eastern USA, followed by a second quake, then a third and far more destructive quake on February 7th that was felt over 1.5 million square miles. The British war machine was from money borrowed from the Rothschilds, but their war against Napoleon greatly diminished their American war effort. Napoleon sought to invade Russia and marched 422,000 soldiers east in the greatest disaster of his illustrious career. Freezing temperatures and typhus epidemic ensured that only 10,000 men returned from the failed invasion. Another comet appeared in this year. In limestone dated at 28 million years by scientists, men on the French Caribbean coast of Guadeloupe excavated a perfectly preserved human female fossil. She stood 5 feet 2 inches tall, and her entombed body was sent to the British Museum in a 2-ton block that was displayed in England as evidence of the Great Flood. In this year, catastrophism is introduced as an explanation for the mass extinctions of the past by Georges Cuvier of France. In December 1812, a disastrous earthquake occurred in California, which at the time was only sparsely inhabited. 1. Synagogue of Satan. 2. March of the Titans. 3. Evolution Cruncher. 4. Human Accomplishment. 5. The Complete San Francisco Horror.